Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
You know about our other podcast, right?
I do.
It's My Opening Line. We talk to artists about their first times performing, their literal opening line to the audience, or their very first movie, or their first play, and what kept them going after that horrible, horrible experience. The new one is out now. Lenny Marcus's first time. From putting together a bringer show of 60 people to performing multiple times on late night TV, Lenny Marcus covers the highs and lows of his decades in comedy, including his first televised stand-up show and writing for SNL's Leslie Jones, and find out why he wouldn't do it all over again. It's exciting. MyOpeningLine.com. You'll see all the episodes we've ever done, and you'll recognize all the names. It's very exciting.
He's such a positive, negative person, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And recently, Keith interviewed me about my first time, and I forgot how embarrassing it was.
About singing, right?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Roberta writes in, Chemda and Keith, Keith and Chemda.
Yes.
Much love to both of you and all the people behind the scenes. Andrea rocks. I've been listening for...
Xerxes, shout out.
Doesn't say that here.
Behind the scenes.
Doesn't say that
Here
at
are
all.
the scenes. He's behind it somewhere.
Let me start over. Much love to both of you. No. I've been listening for approximately 2 years. Honestly, don't know how I came across your podcast, but I can't imagine a day without you two now. Others at work stare at me when I'm belly laughing to the current episodes in my earbuds, and I just yell at them, Keith and the Girl, go listen.
Oh, I love you.
So happy for both of you in your new relationship. So I guess Xerxes is mentioned. That's nice.
Yes, I knew it. People are smart who listen to this.
Much love and peace from Iowa. Heart emoji, smile emoji, heart emoji. That's sweet. Today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, featured on the New Negroes on Comedy Central, Night Train with Wyatt Cenac. The album you want to get is called Stay Eating Cookies. It's available everywhere. Shalewa Sharpe.
Hello.
Hello, Shalewa.
Hi.
You're another very positive, negative person. Would you say that about yourself?
Yeah, the positivity is growing. The negativity that's a constant.
Yeah.
That ain't going nowhere. But the positivity part is growing a little bit.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, it's
To
weird.
what do we owe this?
I don't know.
Is it weird?
It's a little strange.
It feels funny.
Yeah.
Do you try to take it off you? It's like
No, I try to just let it happen.
Yeah.
Something happened recently where I heard from someone about something that I normally would have been very upset about. And I was for about 2 minutes. I was like, man, fuck this shit. This is bullshit. Why do I even do this? No one gives a fuck. This is all ridiculous.
This is the best philosophy.
And then I was like, no one gives a fuck. And if I'm being honest, I don't either. So let them have it.
Yes. When you start
have it.
going like, what the fuck is this? Realize that you're going, what the fuck is this?
Right.
It turns out I could say, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah. It's not, what am I fighting for?
Fuck
Is
this.
this really worth the whatever I'm working up in me? It's not? Okay, cool. Then
Spoiler alert, it's usually not.
Yeah. So I'm getting closer to keeping it moving. There are a few things that I'm holding on to that I desperately wish I could stop holding on to. And I don't know how I get annoyed when people are just like, oh, just forgive. What? I don't understand that. So I'm trying to not hold grudges like I normally would. That's where my negativity.
How big is this forgiveness? How big is the crime?
The crime's probably about 6'1", 250.
Okay.
But it felt to me particularly heinous. And it's probably about 8 months old, but was an ongoing thing for a couple of years. And now it's been done. And I know I should be over it, but I also know I like to just nurture a grudge until it goes to college and then comes back to me.
We all do, but I don't think that you have to push people to forgive. I think it's easier to try to think of it as not personal. Like 6 foot whatever didn't do it to you. That's just what 6 foot whatever does.
Right. Yes. So that's what I have to remind.
Yeah,
I just have to remind myself, well, I mean, he did this to me.
Is this something more emotional than physical?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is that what's more frustrating? Because do people shrug that off?
They say they do. They write all of these flowery Facebook posts that are, when you forgive them, really you're forgiving yourself. And I'm like, but I wasn't wrong,
Right.
So it's like, what do we,
Right.
how does that work?
There were problems on both sides.
Yes, right. Yeah, exactly.
Could you say what you didn't like? Like, are you able to express, like, this is what happened? Because sometimes there's so much confusion.
Oh, yeah, no, I can, for sure. I definitely can name what
can you name it into the microphone?
I guess so. Well, it was someone that we were dating.
We caught that.
Yeah. And then I guess he was done, but he failed to mention to me that he was done. And so
is that part of it?
That's part of it. That's an issue I feel like you should mention. And the thing was, we had gone through this before once, and when he was done, he did tell me right when he decided that he was done. And I was like, well, this feels like it came out of nowhere. But I also sense that this is how you feel, and if I attempt to,
you can't convince.
I can't.
anyone.
Yeah, I'm like, this is just how you feel. So,
you love me.
I guess this is just how that goes. And then some months went by, and then he was like, well, let's try this again. And I went, okay, all right, this will be a soft open for this again. And so then we tried it again, and then at that point, I guess at some point he decided he was done and started seeing someone else. And
did he make you feel like, oh, I mean, I thought we were soft landing this?
No. He knew enough to say we need to talk, but then kept putting off when we needed to talk. And I know what, I'm a grown ass woman. I know what we need to talk means. So, but I'm gonna keep playing dumb because we gonna talk, but you're gonna have to set this up. Okay, sure, yeah, just come over. We can hang out. I can cook, blah blah blah. Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. We're gonna. And then finally, after like a week of that, I was like, look, bruh, what's going on? I physically called him on the phone because I'm that old of a broad. And I said, what's going on? And then he was like, well, I've started seeing someone else. And I was just like, well,
I bet you called her a couple times this week to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, is your appointment book all full?
Then fuck you, man. That's that.
That's painful.
And so I don't want to know anything about whoever. Like it was by the time he realized I hung up on him, I probably had already blocked him on like half of the social media. I was already like working on the laptop, taking him off of shit while cursing him out on my phone.
He's like, did I call you at work? Kinda. I'm working.
There is a project I'm in the middle of for sure.
I'm downloading Soul Swipe, so probably.
So so that's that, and I haven't seen him around. Really.
Is he a comic?
Yes, he is. But we haven't really crossed paths, and that's been very impressive, I think.
Same age?
No.
Younger?
He's younger than me.
I could see you with a younger person, except that they're dumb, and you're very smart.
They are dumb, but he was in the middle. He was at that point where they got to get smarter or else they die. Do you know what I mean? Like
35-ish?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, exactly. He was like 36, 30, somewhere in there. It's just like, this is it or nothing. You know what I mean? You got to figure out something. And so he was in there.
Okay.
And so I guess he just chose to die or be with someone else and figure it out that way. So, it's kind of like, well, I mean, if that's, again, what you wanted to do, I'm not going to yell at you for that. Right. I will yell at you for being fucking rude about that shit.
Yeah.
And just like, I've already started seeing someone else like, oh, well, then I really have nothing to talk about.
Right.
So
like,
then...
you basically called to be like, I changed the rules on you.
Right.
Well, I guess there's new rules.
Right. So
it's like, oh, we've updated our terms of service. Okay. I agree.
Do you find yourself when you date saying things that should be so obvious? Like, when I'm monogamous, if somebody wants out, they should tell me. Do you find yourself saying stupid shit?
I will. Well, I don't date very often because I got issues with trust. And then I will say early on, hey, look, like, if it feels serious, I'm going to say this feels serious.
Right.
What's up with you? And if you're like, yeah, sure, okay, then we will continue in that way. But yeah, like when I say, I mean, like we're not seeing anyone else. I'll tell you point blank, I can't multitask, so I cannot see multiple people.
Yeah, it's not about you. It's about me having less time for this shit.
Yeah, so like I don't have time to juggle. I don't know how you have the energy.
They're like, you're so into me, Shalewa. And you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you're the one. You're who I decided on right now. This is it. You're the option. And so, I once was seeing some guy, and he was seeing multiple women, and it came out in a real ugly, like, Maury Povich way. And I'm
Oh.
getting text messages and from all this.
Ew.
And I was just like, at first I was like, oh my goodness, how terrible. Like I was taken aback. But then after like 30 minutes of it, I was like, how did he find the time to do this? No wonder he was always exhausted when I saw him. This must have been so tight. So when I finally talked to him, I was like, you must be relieved, right? That you don't have to do all of this.
Yeah.
And he's like,
But
"What are you-"
also, did he have? See, this is, I think we're all raised wrong, and so I'm not just I'm not just giving it to the men. I understand their response to this because we've given them that response as they've grown up, and I don't mean we, I mean our parents, right? So, did he really have to lie about that? If you think about it, if you go into a relationship going like, I'm gonna have multiple of you, but you're special. You know, when I'm with you, this is the kind of fun, and you know, you can have the option of going, yeah, as long as like you're respectful when you're with me.
Right.
And then when you're over there, you know, you don't have to talk about me, but you don't have to act like I never existed in your life ever. And then when we can hang out again, that's it. Like you're allowed to do multiple podcasts.
Right, exactly.
But
And
when
I
you're
appreciate
here,
that.
if you can just not only mention other podcasts.
Right. That's the thing is when you are selling yourself to me early on and you use monogamy as a selling point, then I'm going to assume that's what you're into.
Yeah,
And
I wish it
'cause
wasn't a selling point.
Yeah, and because that's what I'm telling you. So if that's an issue for you, just say so, and I can keep it moving. I truly don't have much time left on this planet if I do the math right. You know what I mean? So like we don't.
That's so funny. I bet you've been saying that since you were like 25.
No, I actually had to do the math recently. Was like, ooh, this is not looking good. Yeah.
How old are you? We're the same age.
I'm gonna be 47 in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year I turned 44.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I feel, but you know, it's just like, well, I take into account
Do you
family
still
medical history
Do you
and how
still
my knee
fuck
feels.
with the same energy? Do you
Do I
still
still
have
fuck
do you
with
still
the
have
same-
sex with the same energy as when you were 20?
I mean, no, because I know my body and I know what I'm doing now. So it's definitely stepped up
Okay.
because I know I figured out the map.
Yeah.
You
so
know, but and at 20, I didn't know where things were.
yeah, you're just kind of bopping around.
Yeah, it's really
And it's
just
gonna
when they're
work.
done.
Yeah.
When they're done, then I guess
Yep.
I'm done.
Right.
You know.
She's putting on her clothes as they're finishing.
Yeah, like I sense you're done. So can we?
Your
Can
legs
we
shaking.
go ahead and go to Waffle House now? Because I'm so I was more hungry than horny, if I'm honest.
I, of course, love your stand-up, and I was listening to, you were talking about being on the black apps, and it started getting overwhelming where every single message is, salutations, my queen.
Yes.
Like, all right, calm down.
Yeah, it's a lot. You don't just be a person.
She says
Be a
there's pictures of
person.
them in the gym, and somehow they have a double-breasted tank top. Like, where would you even buy that?
Someone makes them. Somehow you can tell. That's the thing is you can tell when someone is a church dude, and you don't even. They seem to have on regular clothes, but I can look and go, nah, you're a church dude.
Yeah, everybody's horny, but everybody's a deacon.
Yeah. You're a church dude.
And
I don't think.
she says how she just wants an in between because she's sick of dating what she calls the t-shirt dicks, the people that don't give a fuck, the ones that they come on a date with. I was at this family reunion t-shirt.
Yeah.
She's like, well, where's my in betweens?
That's all. That's all I want.
Yes.
Just a little more than that.
Do you notice on dates now? You have to ask a political question or two, like, "Hey, if somebody compared the detention camps to a concentration camp, would your head spin?"
No, I don't even know how to. I put Hinge, another dating app, on my phone in the middle of the night. I don't even remember doing it. I just woke up and my phone was on, and Hinge was like, "Add your pictures," and I was like, "What is this?" All right, I'll add pictures. I'm halfway through. So on that one, I think the whole point is, people on it are serious about their wanting to get together. And so they are they have little icons to let you know. You can put if you grew up religious, if you're moderate, if you're conservative, you're liberal, all of that stuff. And so now I'm still in the swiping phase. And I'm looking and I'm like, you're moderate. No. You're liberal, but I don't believe you. No.
I don't like your quotes.
No. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you grew up in the South, so even your liberal is not going to be the liberal that I want, really.
And
Or-
what did you put for yourself?
I'm pretty sure I put down liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you put down atheist, but are you an atheist?
I think I put down agnostic because
Yeah.
I'm more agnostic than anything.
I wanted to say that about you, and why is that? What's the final?
Because I don't want to give up hope completely. Also, sometimes atheists are mad irritating in a Christian way, in a religious way, and I don't want to. I don't rule out.
You feel like do you feel like saying an atheist means you don't want to talk to even the agnostic, and saying agnostic means
that you can
have a conversation?
That you want to leave out the idea of just the basic idea of something out of your control.
Mm-hmm. See, this is what I think, that atheists have been giving atheism a bad
rap. Yeah,
like you said, they're as bad as Bible thumpers, and they get angry. And this is me also. I've gotten angry with people like, religion just destroys the world. Like, really, you believe in a God in the sky? And it's like, now when people see atheism, it's kind of the same as...
It is the same. Atheists will get angry, and these priests are fucking kids. So it's like, what do I want to deal with today? You don't know how I woke up.
Which one? Yeah. So I'm okay with
Wars
are
magic. Started, but we're a little pissed off. So
I'm okay with the magic of like a butterfly that comes by and talks to me in my mother's voice or something like that. Okay. I like the idea of those kinds of things. And whether or not, it's just kind of a lazy way to, cover your bases, maybe, just in case.
You want to hold on to your fantasy.
Yeah, and but I'm not even like and my fantasy is even still, I am skeptical about the fantasy I am building. I'm skeptical of my own faith that I am attempting to put together to help me get through.
You just want to be able to think about that stuff without going, but I'm an atheist.
Right, without just like, we don't control it all. So we don't have to give it all up to a man in the sky and just assume that they're running things, and we're just out here willy-nilly, and if the man wants us to have it, we're going to have it. It's like, but you also still got to work for it. And then we don't want to just say, well, I am in charge of everything that I do, because I'm like, no.
Well, I like the agnostic angle because it's saying I don't know, and then if somebody says, well, what if I said I don't know?
Yeah,
should you look more on one side? I don't know.
Just be okay with not knowing. I think it's all right to admit that you don't know things.
Speaking of politics, 2 days ago, Donald Trump tweeted out, Iran made a very big mistake, alluding to us going to war. And then he says, okay, we're not going to go to war right now the way I said. And, people that don't think and like to keep it simple, who voted for Trump, is saying, you just said we get to go to war. I was all hard and I didn't understand the situation. And now he has to be clear and go, I didn't call the strike off. I just said, not now.
Does everyone think we're playing Monopoly? What?
He does, for sure.
This is crazy.
He thinks
Risk, rather, yeah.
He literally, I think he's not even thinking that far, because that's got countries and he doesn't care about that. It's always going to be ratings for him. So he's looking at this as like a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Right. And then that he solved the cliffhanger. All right, I'm not going to do it now, but who knows when I'm going to do it. And it's like, bruh, you got to let us know, because we got to pack.
But let's put it this way, folks.
Let's not make this the 40 years in the desert thing again.
There's 26 military bases of the U.S. right by Iran. So why would Iran park so fucking close if it's not trying to start something? That's interesting.
Iran they're the ones with the good-looking men?
No,
that's not them?
Wow, Henda's starting a war.
I know.
I'm from there. Like, my father's from there, so that's...
Was it cute? Can you think back or think of a picture you saw and go, oh, maybe I could see why?
Have you seen the Young Turks?
Yes.
The main guy in the Young Turks.
That's what
my dad looks like.
Okay, so yeah, no.
That's what my family looks like.
The whole family?
Yeah, basically. Shorter, fatter, different versions.
Shout out to the Young Turk, man. We ain't talking shit about you. Bless your heart. Just keep using moisturizer or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, he does look good, but it's, I don't know. Like, the thing is, to me, it's like, what looks good in this country? We decided on a weird version of that. So
okay,
I'm not always... to me, like, someone looks good to someone,
right?
Sure. So I don't know. If you think that guy from the Young Turk looks hot, maybe you'd like my dad.
Okay, well then no, I probably.
I'll tell you what I like. But if you come to my house and you can help me move,
Wow.
I'm like, okay, you look good enough to me.
Yeah.
You know, they look like good
That's
movers.
what you look for in a person.
You may have seen or heard that Donald Trump was doing an interview talking about his financial statement, saying, you know what, I want it out there. And George Stephanopoulos, the reporter, he says, well, you can just give it to the press and your financial statement, I assume you mean your taxes, will be out there. And he goes, well, no, I'm not going to do that. They're probably going to find it, whatever this means, and I hope they do, because they're going to see that everything's on the up and up.
Oh, that's what people say when they're cheating. Like, I hope you do follow me on this app so you can see. I'm like,
Okay, or you can just show me now and give me your password.
Right. Yeah. No, because I want to show you, like, you want to find out. It's like, no, that you just twisted. How did you make that what I want?
It's not a game.
Yeah.
This is not a game, man.
Well, during this statement, the chief of staff coughs. Now, the chief of staff...
Wait, who is the chief of staff right now?
Exactly. I don't know. But I do know he's very important because I saw the West Wing, and this would be if Leo coughed during an interview and Martin Sheen publicly got angry at him for ruining his interview.
Okay.
That's what's happening. This guy is so important. This guy is probably the right-hand man, more so than the vice president, according to the West Wing.
No, at some point, I might, but at some point I hope they get it because it's a fantastic financial statement. It's a fantastic financial statement. And let's do that over. He's coughing in the middle of my answer.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like that, you know?
Your chief.
This goes with what Shalewa was saying. So there are cliffhangers and there are sound bites. So he knows editing won't be able to get that wonderful sound bite where he says
fantastic financial statement.
Right.
exactly. He wants that to be a clean cut so that they can put like zoom, zoom, zoom behind
So
it.
that upset him more than the idea of going to war.
Right.
Was that someone messed up his sound bite?
Right.
Oh, boy.
And you're right. He tried to repeat that line, but then it hit him like, no, the question has to be right next to the answer. So we have to start over.
Fantastic financial statement. It's a fantastic financial statement. And let's do that over. He's coughing in the middle of my answer.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like that, you know?
Your chief of staff.
If you're going to cough, please leave the room.
And I like that George Stephanopoulos points out who it was. Yeah, your chief of staff, the most important person in the room. Yes. Okay.
But who is it right now? Do we know for real? Because haven't we been through...
I can look it up.
I mean, is it... Wait, who's the one...
Why are you going to keep guessing?
Is it the...
Okay, I'll look it up.
Kelly, is it that guy still in?
Kellyanne Conway, yes.
No. No, although I assume you've probably already covered that the...
we don't
one
cover
of the
much real
rumors-
shit here.
John Francis Kelly.
It is John Kelly still doing the job? Well,
Yes,
he's
he's-
coughing anywhere in the room.
He succeeded Reese
Right.
Rinks Priebus.
Right, okay.
Now,
So
does that
there's
make you
no-
feel better?
Well, no,
worse?
I just thought he was out and that there was another guy that we didn't know about yet because I didn't.
Well, it's this
John
guy you don't
Kelly
even know about,
say no, that guy. He's the guy who said, "Yeah, Trump's a fucking idiot."
Oh, yeah, I could keep track of everyone who says that. Sure.
right,
Yeah,
for sure.
tomorrow.
I mean, there have been books.
Yeah.
Yes, Kellyanne Conway's husband picked on the president, and that's got to be a rough marriage at home, right?
That's
I
all he
mean-
does. That's all he tweets about is how
Right.
that relationship is. That's something.
Who can have that relationship?
Who I want to. I don't
Can you
really
like-
watch reality shows, but I mean, I'll watch like a Nova documentary about the two of them.
Would be if like publicly. Well, it's different. I was gonna say if Xerxes kept picking on me, but I'm not his boss. This way's even worse. The other way.
That's true.
But that would be hard also. Like if
of
Xerxes
course.
just tweeted
but
like
but he
that's
doesn't.
dumb.
But Trump doesn't see that dude as a threat. That's not his problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now if that guy was taller than Trump, that'd be an issue.
No one could be more orange, so he's got that.
Yeah. That's why he went after.
And let's do that over. He's coughing in the middle of my answer.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like that, you know?
Your chief of staff.
If you're going to cough, please leave the room.
Get a shot of, and I'll come over here.
You just can't.
Just to change the shot.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Trump.
Sorry, Mr. Trump. I advise you on major matters, war and finance. Sorry, Mr. Trump.
And is this what you were saying? So he repeated his line so that they could splice it, right? But then he realized it
repeated
wasn't enough.
Then he realized the question has to be right by the answer, so we're gonna have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, so that's what we do. Like, if you've ever recorded something and something happens on top of the word, you just say part of that sentence again because in editing they can cut that out.
Right.
So you give the editor like some peace of mind by
Right.
saying it again, but it wasn't good enough for him. And also, this isn't about editing to make a clean cut.
Right.
This isn't a video, a
Right.
promo video where
Right.
you need.
Yeah. This is a.
This is
Also, this is being like recorded.
It's history.
Video. Yeah, it's gonna go
It's-
in the. Come on, bro.
it's just history.
You can't fix it in post.
Yeah.
It's your literal presidency.
We know Netflix has the biopic now on the Central Park Five.
Right.
And so they take the time to say, hey, Mr. President, some people are getting in trouble now that it's clear what role they had in the Central Park Five. What do you think about the time he took out a full-page ad in the paper saying, murder these kids, the death penalty, period. And he said, quote, this is his famous go-to, there were problems on both sides. Both sides admitted their guilt. That was the whole problem with the Central Park Five. They were kids forced to admit guilt.
Oh, well, he's never going to say he was wrong on that because, he's not wrong on anything.
Right.
I mean, it's exhausting. I didn't even really pay attention to what he would have to say about that because we know what he thinks. We've known since he put that ad in the paper.
But hey, luckily we have new information that comes out. You could easily say something stupid. Not they admitted their guilt.
If it's not obvious to a lot of people that literally some human beings don't count to some people, to people in charge, they really don't count.
Here is a sentence I never thought I'd ever say, but shout out to Meghan McCain. End. Period. But shout
Okay,
out
we
to
can move
her
on.
because she said on The View, she said when having one of her back and forth with Joy that it's not so much that people love Trump, it's that they hate what he hates.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that needs to be tackled, not so much Trump. I mean, yeah, Trump's an evil person, but he's not doing this all alone. There's a whole
They like
half
this.
a government that's and more of the country than people want to admit. That's like, well, I mean, he's got a point, or
Right.
I mean, I don't. This seems a bit much, but I understand where the starting point is, or they don't even realize they have that. They've internalized it and tried to spin it in different ways, but they haven't. You know what I mean? So it's not even like you can get rid of Trump. Great. So who do we got in the wings then?
Yeah,
Mike
somebody
Pence?
somebody with the same.
Lord, you know what I mean? And
Ideologies.
he actually knows how government works properly. You know what I mean? I mean, I think it's.
You don't
and-
think he would deny the FBI and CIA?
Oh no, but he would know how to do it in a smart way.
Like he'd be more swift about his shit.
He'd do it in the political way, which is basically what the country wants. We want to go back to the political way where we didn't know all of this stuff. If we don't know it, then it's what is the now anyone who's truly suffering from it, we can go back to calling them nuts or crazy because there's
Right,
no proof, even though the people who are suffering from it have known for generations.
Yeah, we used to hear statistics like we've caught more bad guys. So
Mm-hmm.
here's the number of bad guys, and what we're finding out now is, wait, who's the bad guy? And then we're looking at who the bad guy is, and we're like, oh no, we didn't.
Yeah,
we
the bad
thought,
guys were giving us these numbers all along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the guy with the one joint in his pocket is the bad guy that you've been talking about. That you added that number into the "we're cleaning up your streets" thing. Oh shit!
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think people just want it to go back to whoever was suffering is suffering silently, and we just didn't know about it.
What do you do when you have a country that half the people, no matter whose side you're on, you would agree is so simple? What can you do? I saw the Black Mirror episode where the puppet was running for office.
Okay.
I don't know. I agreed with most of his points. So maybe the Black Mirror movie was for me. But, I see a lot of articles written about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez specifically talking about the detention centers at the border and referring to them as concentration camps, and long articles saying, no, concentration camps are for 6 million dead Jews. Concentration camps, you use that word for blah, blah, blah. How about you look into these detention centers?
Yeah,
And that she didn't
right.
use the word lightly. And that you can look up the meaning of concentration camp. And you can see that it does fit. A place where large numbers of people, especially political prisoners or members of a persecuted minority, are deliberately imprisoned in a relatively small area with inadequate facilities. This is the definition.
yeah.
Now, why do you take the time to quickly jump and shut that down instead of taking a look at what's happening to these 7-year-olds that are taking care of babies because they were separated from their families, that these moms have milk stains from breastfeeding all over the shirts they have to keep wearing.
It's
because
the
it's harder
same-
because it's work.
Yeah, it's the same instinct that makes people say things like, "Well, this isn't the real America. This isn't what America is." To which I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, word! This has been America since it started. This is how America started. This is where America comes from. These are our roots. Here we go. The tree is here's the fruit now. Like this is what's happening." So, so people just want to get back into that hole. They just want to put their head back into that sand.
Yeah.
And Trump's not letting them because he wants everything to be seen for ratings. He wants everyone to see what he's doing.
Like when another woman, successful, established, is very clear with detail how Trump raped her, very recent.
Yeah.
And then your go-to reaction is what took her so long? I don't know. What took this cunt so long? I'll kill her. Gee, I don't know what took her so long.
Wait, was that his response?
Not hers, not his,
but just
of course.
people in general.
Yeah, no. If he just sits back and let people attack her, he knows at least this, not to even
Right.
acknowledge it. Let her and her family just be attacked.
Oh, that's horrible.
I was comparing it to everyone remembers as a child at some point you were bullied by someone. Maybe it wasn't like a daily constant thing where you were the one who was bullied, but at some point you got pushed around, you got embarrassed by something.
Right.
And what did you do? You put your head down and you didn't want to tell anyone. You're so embarrassed by it. You were trying to pretend it didn't happen so that you can move on and continue socializing, or you're going to get consumed with this and it's going to keep being you. But we expect rape victims to just go, excuse me, happy to report I was just raped.
Right.
Does anyone want to do anything about that?
Right after, if not sooner.
Yeah.
Like
and it's like, first of all, you have to process what the fuck just happened. Like, if you get punched in the face, if you get to have a minute to see what happens, you would take that minute.
Right.
You have to take a minute.
Right.
We also don't know. We had to like look at rape and go, oh shit, I was raped, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this is a little more fun story. It's audio from San Ysidro High School, California. By the way, my stepson, if you will, just had his graduation, 5th grade. So how exciting! Isn't that great?
Wait, when?
Nope, don't fall for it. He didn't anything.
I'm
He's
dating somebody that has kids.
Oh no, I figured that already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There was a hesitation around 5th grade where I was like, "This ain't your child." You didn't have a nickname for him or anything.
Right.
You only barely remembered it was maybe your stepson. I got it. When this is more of a regional, like a state thing that I'm not quite understanding. In New York, say, which is where we are. When do they let the children out of school? It is mid-June.
Oh, well, what happens is they have to, well, now that I have a stepchild, they keep extending it because when they take time off during the year, they now add a day
To
at the end.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what happened.
Yeah.
Was it so cold this past winter that they took, like, what feels to me like 2 weeks off?
It's weird math.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's new math, basically.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't understand
Nope.
that weird core math.
Yeah.
I don't
You
get
don't
it.
know Common Core weather?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I do not.
You
I'm-
draw out the number of snowflakes. So this woman is giving her graduation speech. Again, her name is Natalie Burr.
What do you mean this woman to a 5th grade class or?
She's I guess I consider her a woman, but she's 18. She's graduating. She's the valedictorian. She's giving it to the class. The speech.
Wait, how did we get to 5th grade?
That's his
Oh,
stepson.
this is a high school
Yes.
graduation. Okay.
I was just congratulating the big achievement of graduating 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
It's big,
That's
man.
separate.
Okay.
That's huge.
All right, here we go.
To my friends, thank you for always being by my side. I appreciate your love and support always, and will treasure the memories we made at this school. To my counselor, thanks for teaching me to fend for myself. You were always unavailable to my parents and I, despite appointments. Only in these past few weeks, with the award ceremonies and graduation coming up, did you begin making your appearance.
Yes.
And might I note, you expressed to me your joy in knowing that one of your students was valedictorian when you had absolutely no role in my achievements. To the staff in the main office, thank you for teaching me how to be resourceful. Your negligence to inform me of several scholarships until the day before they were due potentially caused me to miss out on thousands of dollars. When applying for a work permit, you repeatedly turned me away, despite confirming with my employer and parents that all my paperwork was filled correctly.
Wow.
I've had to escalate issues with staff to an assistant principal various times to reach any sort of solution. To the teacher who was regularly intoxicated during class this year, thank you for using yourself as an example to teach students about the dangers of alcoholism. Being escorted by police out of school left a lasting impression. I hope that future students and staff learn from these examples. Thank you, class of 2019.
Yes. Oh God. You know, when I listen to these children at the age of 18, this woman making like one of her first speech as an adult, I am so in awe of what I couldn't do, of like the voice that I didn't have, the expression that I was too scared to speak about.
That is fantastic.
That's the best.
And they weren't, I feel like they were like, is she kidding about the counselor? Okay, does she mean it about the people in the office? Oh no, I know about that drunk teacher. Yeah, no, she's serious. She's serious. Like that's how the crowd sound. Oh man.
The only thing that I'll give them is they didn't interrupt her, which would have made it worse.
Right. Well, like Kenda says, if we had the confidence that we should have when we were kids, it makes me think of, hey, what would you do if you can do it all over again? Yes, it would be different, but I think they'd kill me at my 5th grade graduation. Be like, something's wrong with this guy's brain. It's a little too real.
Yeah. When you're in class and you're like, this teacher, I can't. I'm a good child. Like I like to follow rules because I don't want to get in trouble. I was very much like that. For me to sit there and go, and of course I didn't have the words for this, but to feel I don't know how to respect this adult. So I'm having trouble with that because I'm supposed to respect them and they're supposed to be authority. And I don't have these words to put together. And I'm like, I think this teacher's a joke.
Yeah.
To be able to go, hey, you're a fucking idiot in nice terms so that people can't shut you down is, just how many shout outs can we give this wonderful person?
Yeah, that's fantastic because that's a very freeing feeling. That's when you know you're free. You're like, I've made it through this. What are you going to do? I've already started my steps towards the next part. What are y'all going to do?
Yeah, without you. And I know that you can't do anything because apparently you don't know when the due date is to do them, so
you
you're not
don't
going to
even
do
know. I mean, do you even know my name?
Right.
Like, what do
Luckily
you even know who I am or what school this is? Like, you're all always. I feel the teeniest bit for people in the office. Only because I know schools are struggling with just staffing. You know what I mean? And people knowing what's going on. But I'm sure.
But for that to be so repeated.
Repeated is like, okay, yeah, they probably,
because
no one probably gave a damn. If there was someone who gave a damn, they'd be overworked. There are plenty of counselors out there who are, their workload is ridiculous. And they do their best. Either you can do your best and just have it like crush you quickly, or you can do nothing and just skate and then just show up and go, oh, I need your signature.
But people
on
think
this.
that children can't see things. So if there was somebody who was even looking up from their desk at you as a child, you would go, you know what? Except for this person who I can see is overworked. I'm not an idiot.
Right. I can tell when you care.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is I'm sure what informed that is that she could tell whether or not those people gave a shit.
And it's like this, think about the kids who have been abused by their parents. It takes a level of abuse of putting out cigarettes on you for you to even consider, yes, my childhood was a little askew, you know? So in order for somebody to put this in their valedictorian speech, they would have to be like, no, this is such a broken down system because I wouldn't be fighting half a wrong system. I wouldn't be putting myself in this position or feeling the need to step up this fucking high and take this much of a risk and speak this loud about it if it wasn't so broken down. That's what I think. I don't think that you go like, you know, you guys could have done a better job, but I know you're trying.
Right. No, it would have to be like
consistent
horrible.
and fucked up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I spoke at my high school graduation.
What'd you say? Thank you for this. I didn't earn it.
Almost. I basically was comic relief because I certainly was not that great of a student. I didn't do any work. I didn't like doing work. So there I was. But they
let
were
you
looking
speak?
they were looking for students to speak outside of the
Smarties.
valedictorian, and the salutatorian. They were like, we'd like another. So come to this classroom and read something that you would like to say or whatever. And I guess maybe some brainiacs came and had some boring ass Poindexter shit. And I just came and I was just like, I feel like I incorporated our motto for the year, which was like, if we can't find a road to success, we'll make one, or some, one of those accessory things that you see with an eagle soaring or something. And so it was just like, I was basically just like, look, man, a lot of us will start college, not who knows who will finish it. But just figure it out, and maybe success for you is just going to be like being able to pay your bills and have a place to live. And you'll figure that out. Like, we'll figure
That's pretty adult
it
of
out to do. So that was my.
But I saw
it
you on
was
Facebook
funny.
recently, and you said, "But I guess we didn't."
But yeah,
Here are my following dates.
So they let me do it. They let me do it, and like how I'm up there with the kids who have like these long collars and ropes and shit, and
Like
I
they're
couldn't
in
even
Star
get
Trek,
and I couldn't even get the basic white collar on. I couldn't figure out how to stick that on. So I'm there with no collar. Barely a hat, and I'm just like, hi, I'm here to talk to you. And I had parents of like classmates. Anytime I ran into them around town for like the following 10 years, I just loved that speech you made. And I was like, well, I'm glad that your kid dropped out of college, didn't he? I knew he would. I was talking to him. I knew he would. He was kind of stupid.
And I would do my speech in Spanish, but Mrs. Martinez was always out fucking the gym teacher. She was very polite. Didn't use anybody's real names.
No, that's the best part. I mean, that is honestly, if you really, that's a somewhat shady. In the correct way, not whatever it is at shade that the kids are using shade now, but in a correct way. That's a shady speech, and I'm here for it.
Thank you, class of 2019. Now let's go get fucked up. Just kidding, Mrs. Jones. I didn't mean to get you excited. Thank you.
By the way, that reminds me, because you said like Spanish and blah, blah, blah. I took Spanish, took it so seriously. I was learning it. I was so excited about it. I started like understanding, people around New York and everything. And then I got Miss Bergstein. And I just want to say, Cardoza, Miss Bergstein, thank you for fucking deflating my Spanish learning. I was so excited. I was learning everything. I was getting 100 on my goddamn report card. And not just because it was bullshit, because I really learned. And I just want you to know that you're a piece of shit, and here's why. You learned that as a second language, and now you're pretending you didn't, but your accent is dumb. And all the people who spoke Spanish to you in the class, they thought you were dumb too, and they were playing you. You got played, and you played me also. Fuck you.
Mr. Statler, I would like to thank you for only talking to the cool kids as if you were that age and you were finally cool. Fuck you.
I can't remember the name of this one because she changed it every time she got married or divorced. So by the time I got her, it was like a third name in like the third year I was in school.
Well, she's good with paperwork.
Yeah, for sure. But she was my English teacher. It was advanced English. And she did not want to give me a chance. She gave me the hardest time possible and didn't believe I did anything that I did because her best friend happened to be the 10th grade advanced English teacher who I had just had the year before, who was and would tell lots of stories about her son. And one day she started into a story about her son. And a student said, I am so tired of hearing about your son. And she said, if you don't like it, you can go outside. So I did. and then I guess she told the story or something, but she opened the door when she was done and I came back in. And later my classmates were like, she cried. You made her cry.
No.
So that woman
You little
hated
bitch.
me,
Not
and
you.
her best friend was the 11th grade one. So the 11th grade teacher, just was shitty to me immediately. And I was just like, what's her problem? And they're like, oh, so-and-so's her best friend. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, that's two bitches I have to deal with in a year. Like that, what else?
You're so pathetic because we are looking at you like you're old and this is what you're still fucking petty about.
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah,
petty bitch.
exactly. I'm like, you're gonna let a 16-year-old
make you cry and then your best friend cry.
You've been married like 3 times, so maybe you're a little hard to get along with anyway. Like, what are we doing? But to be fair to that 10th grade teacher, I did tell her when it was time to write a report that I don't do rough drafts. So I was probably a pill, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
but
I also, she didn't teach us how to do it. She was just like, just write this and then write it again in a different.
Who's the adult also?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, she cried because I didn't want to hear about her son. No one had told her they didn't want to hear about her son. Come on. The kid wasn't even, he was like 3. He wasn't doing anything. You know what I mean? We were not that far away. We're closer to the age of her son than she was. So it wasn't a marvel to us. Some of us had siblings that young. We're like, I get it.
I had a teacher who also talked about her daughters, but the daughters were around our age and went to our school, and we're like, bitch, we know your daughters aren't anything. Like, but they were ballerinas. So yeah, so I think one or both of them were in the Nutcracker for a minute, and we're like, we're in New York. A lot of people are in a lot of things.
Right.
And also, how are you making me not care about this? I would have been like, oh, that's great. But you know what? You and your daughters are kind of bitchy to everyone.
Of course.
So we don't want to hear it through you or through them. And you just made the Nutcracker a bad thing. You know, like, how did you do that as an adult? And also, you're a social studies teacher or some kind of thing like that. How did this come up?
They always manage to make it come up. Well, I don't know why we're hearing about a 3-year-old boy in English class. Yeah. You know what I mean? We weren't covering anything that had anything to do with anyone that young.
I would like to thank Mr. Coleman, who, when I was a waiter, he came in from school to eat and always yelled at me. And he yelled because his steak was never well done enough. It was burnt, Mr. Coleman, and it couldn't be more burnt. That teaches me to never give up, because I was 16, and you made me cry, but I still showed up to work the next day. He's right there in the second row. Thank you, class of 2019.
Oh boy, this is getting personal for Keith.
Yeah. We're getting rid of a lot of demons today. I am now. I guarantee I'm going to run into my ex somewhere, and he's going to be like, "I heard you were talking about me." I was like, "God damn it, I'm supposed to be forgiving you."
Nah.
No, probably not.
Wait, you got to talk it through first.
I do have to talk it through.
Yeah, and also you did that, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm working on forgiving me, apparently.
Yeah.
That's going to take a bit.
Yeah, that is going to take a while. I do nothing wrong.
Shalewa, you can follow on Twitter and Instagram at Silky Jumbo. And the website is shalewasharpe.com. And the album, like I said.
Ooh.
Yes.
I've got news.
Yeah, don't worry about the album.
I have a new album coming out in August.
Okay. So save your money for that one.
Yeah. Do that. Please. Yeah. I'm very excited about it.
That's not good math. Again, not good math.
I know.
No.
What's the title of the new album?
The new album is called So You Just Out Here?
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with me and my titles.
I like it.
But it comes out in August. It'll be out in August.
Okay.
I love your titles. This morning, I knew that you were coming into the studio, and I'm like, oh, stay eating cookies.
So, yeah. At least I put a question mark on this one so people would know the inflection. I'm trying to help out everybody.
What do you like about this album coming up?
That it's done. Actually, I did it with a label called Little Lamb Recordings, and one of the owners of that label is a woman named Shanali, who's has various bands, and I go way back with her, like back to the early '90s in Atlanta in the indie rock scene, where she had a band, and I was just going to see them, and we were maybe one of 4 or 5 brown women in the audience, so we know each other. And she's just a light and a force and extremely positive. I don't know how she does it, and she doesn't get dragged down while still working in the comedy world and in the indie rock world and in like a day job world. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's just fantastic to work with her, and also, you know, just to, I guess, get it down on tape.
That's really cool.
Proof that I'm doing something, you know?
Yeah, I was telling Aldo and Xerxes and I like have been going to your shows. We like following you, and it's just we just like sitting there and listening to you talk.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God, any story, any time. It's
I
just,
appreciate that.
oh, so I cannot wait for this album. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.